Tzu Chi volunteers are planning a winter aid distribution to help people in Gansu, China, where a severe drought has been creating hardship. And we begin a new series on tourism in Taiwan by discussing the aims and drawbacks of some interesting structures designed to attract visitors.
Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Duncan DeAeth. Thank you for joining us. In Gansu Province, Huiyuan County, farmers grow a variety of medicinal herbs as cash crops. Recently, the area has been facing the most severe drought in the past 20 years, making farmers unable to harvest their crops. Fortunately, the Tzu Chi Foundation signed an agreement with the Huiyuan County government for a winter aid distribution after surveying the area and understanding the needs of local farmers.
Tzu Chi volunteers have traveled to the Dongwan village of the Huiyuan County in Gansu Province to survey the areas affected by the drought.
We are facing the most severe drought in the past 20 years. We grow Chinese herbal medicine here, such as astragalus and Pillows Asia bell root. So if there's no water, they will not grow. As you can see, this Pillows Asia bell root obviously lacks essential nutrients because it is still very thin, even though it has been growing for 1 year. In past years, it would have grown as thick as this one.
Huiyuan County is located in the central part of Gansu Province, and it is the source area of the Hui River. Since ancient times, there has been sparse vegetation here, which makes it suited for growing Chinese herbal medicine. For this reason, Huiyuan County was given the name as Thousand-Year Medicine Village.
这个种多久啊？2年。
2年啊？哦，2年才长这样。
As Huiyuan County is facing the most severe drought in the past 20 years, farmers are unable to harvest local cash crops such as astragalus, Chinese angelica, sorghum bicolor, and Pillows Asia bell root.
Last year, we invested about $595 to grow the crops, but this year we sold them for only about $150. Because of the drought, we don't have any income this year.
After the vice president of the Tzu Chi Foundation, Wang Duncan, understood the needs of the farmers, he signed an agreement with the government for the winter aid distribution. With the aid supplies offered by Tzu Chi, farmers will face less pressure about how to survive the upcoming winter.
Lecturers from Taiwan have been invited to share their stories at Singapore's 4-in-1 Officers Training Camp this year. After the camp ended on a successful note, a lecture was also hosted in the Singapore's Tzu Chi Recycling Center, where 260 attendees listened about how to live a happy life.
Fang Hanwu is a famous baker who owns a bakery chain throughout Taiwan. On this day, he headed to the Tzu Chi Recycling Center in Singapore to share with attendees how to make the most of their time by doing good deeds.
All of the staff members know that their boss is doing good deeds, so that they are willing to work overtime. My dedication has also inspired many bakers in my stores to devote themselves to helping the needy. He is able to earn money while carrying out good deeds at the same time. His dedication has benefited many impoverished families and the less fortunate. We can learn from his spirit.
My husband said, "Madam, there is a mosquito." I replied to him, "I had to catch the mosquito, otherwise it might bite you. I might feel bad if it bites you." He felt very happy after hearing me say this.
A veteran Tzu Chi volunteer from Taiwan, Ji Jinyang, also gave a lecture on how couples should get along with each other harmoniously.
There is nothing right or wrong when it comes to relationships. We should lower our self-esteem instead of asking our spouse to make a change. The most important thing is to change myself into a better person.
What does the happiest life in the world look like? Master Zhen Yan answered that keeping physically and mentally healthy is the happiest thing in the world.
An Qing Kun felt happy after attending the lecture because he has learned from the volunteers the ways to relieve his worries about his company, which was damaged by a big fire in August 2016.
I have already changed my mindset. I feel much better after listening to them share their ways on how to face life with a positive attitude. Though I have lost many things in the fire, I have also learned from it. Just like what Master Zheng Yan said, the happiest thing in the world is to keep physically and mentally healthy.
The 2-hour lecture benefits a total of 260 residents, as they have learned how to make their life better by adopting a positive attitude.
Volunteers at the Jingsi Hall in Xindian, Taipei have been working hard to prepare for guests that will be visiting Taiwan from abroad. To make sure their guests are comfortable and feel like family, volunteers from the Taipei area joined together to clean up and get things in order.
At the Jingsi Hall in Xindian, Taipei, in preparation for members of the Tzu Chi family to come visit, 420 volunteers joined together to clean up the hall grounds. Even 5th grader Ke Yu Chung accompanied his mother to help out. On the way, the driver is curious about the boy's eagerness to volunteer.
The driver asked a professor, "Would you volunteer to clean the bathroom?" The professor replied, "As a professor, why should I do that?" And then Yu Chen responded, "It wouldn't matter about class, only that you try hard when you do something. You make your own work worthwhile."
Even though volunteer Chen Lifang has donated a surprising amount of money, she still helps out alongside all the others as they help clean the large building.
I don't have a good education. I never went to school, so I can only do this kind of cleaning work. But I figure if it is helping out the master, then it is worth doing. It's about the basic joy of helping others.
Volunteers are preparing the dormitories to ensure a suitable living space for guests.
The new pillows are still quite fluffy, so we have to work to get them into the pillowcases. It's not so easy, but we still want it to be comfortable for the guest, so we don't get frustrated.
The preparation for this event began 2 months ago, and their love and effort can be felt throughout the Jingsi Hall.
Next, we'll meet a young music performer who happens to have Down syndrome, but as we'll see, that hasn't stopped her from following her passion to become an accomplished performer. Zhou Yijia has been practicing the ocarina diligently for the past 7 years with the help of her mother. She was also recently chosen as a recipient of the Global Love of Lives Award by the Zhou Daquan Foundation. Here's more.
For most people, 1 or 2 weeks would be enough to learn this song. But for Yijia, it can take 1 or 2 months of serious practice to get it right.
For this one song that she's in the process of learning, she's played it 500 times through, but it's still quite tough for her. She will need to do it 1,000 times.
I want to be familiar with the entire song. I will practice it thoroughly, so guests will be moved when they hear it.
Although a sufferer of Down syndrome, Yijia has loved performing since she was little. Her mother has always encouraged her music, and for the past 7 years, Yijia has been learning to play the ocarina, and she has been performing on the street for the past 3 years.
我要去表演了。好 ，Let's go. Let's go.
大家好，我是瑜伽白露丝，希望大家会喜欢。我和喜欢学到底。
I really like to play the ocarina. The sound is very beautiful and I really enjoy performing.
和喜欢表演。
Yijia has a street performer's permit for 21 areas in cities and counties throughout Taiwan, where she can often be found performing. But the performance that she appreciates the most is when she has the chance to perform for seniors in care centers.
他的反应
They
很好，
enjoyed the performance. They thought I was cute, so I'm very happy.
很开心，很开心。
When they see her, they feel like she is a granddaughter and it makes them happy.
Yijia performs with the attitude of a professional and attracts many passers-by, which always gives Yijia encouragement. But beyond the average street performance, she and her mother have bigger plans.
Our next goal will be to join the teacher and go to different places to do charity work.
我很感恩。
I'm so grateful for my mother and all her hard work since I was little until now.
Yijia practices hard to get every note and every song just right. She is an excellent example of what it means to work hard and persevere, never giving up to achieve your goals. When we see her perform, her confidence and love of life should be an inspiration to us all.
Taiwan's attempt to attract international tourists has inspired local governments and private enterprises to put more resources into facilities and parks. One such attraction took inspiration from a famous fairy tale to attract visitors, which the local economy needs. Follow our report as we examine both the promise and pitfalls of such types of tourism.
Here we see Cinderella try on a glass slipper, the moment of her happily ever after come true, which is deeply rooted into the minds of many girls. And here in Taiwan's Chiayi Budai Township, some 320 different panels of blue glass have been joined together to create a 17-meter high, 11-meter wide high-heeled church at a cost of $712,000 US. The structure has actually become a popular tourist destination for selfies and photos ever since construction began in 2016.
The high-heeled church is actually quite attractive, so we wanted to come and take a look.
The high-heeled church is very popular, and in February of Lunar New Year, some 440,000 people visit, and even until July it had attracted 200,000 visitors.
To promote tourism, Southwest Coastal Scenic Area Administration built Tainan's Baymen Crystal Church in 2014, which it later followed up with the Chiayi High-Heeled Church.
The Crystal Church broke all kinds of records here, as the whole street was probably full of people, much like crowds in Taipei's Ximending area.
Early on, this place was used for salt farms. When local residents who drank from the groundwater developed blackfoot disease, which affected both boys and girls. It prevented them from getting married. It was the inspiration behind these churches.
While the high-heeled church is attracting many tourists with its romantic image, some believe these short-term views to tourism promotion raise many more difficult questions.
I don't oppose these efforts to promote sightseeing, but I think we should not have a short-term view, such as opting for visual symbols to attract people. Usually this type of approach can in fact attract a lot of people, but it is not a permanent solution.
Sure enough, less than 6 months later, after the tourism boom subsided for both the Crystal Church and High-Heeled Church, visitors to a nearby tourist fish market dropped by only 1/10 on weekdays, while on weekends it was about just 1/3 when compared to the peak tourist period for the High-Heeled Church.
It's only a decorative ornament and nothing else around it. If there was more planning, it could be a little better.
Why can't we encourage people to appreciate our native scenery or the problems our environment is facing as Chiayi, Yunlin, and Tainan are under a land subsidence crisis?
"200 years ago, Chiayi's Budai area saw its first salt farm, as the southwest coast would later see upwards of thousands of salt farms. In 2001, Budai closed all of these salt farms, and it wasn't until 2008 did salt farms return to Budai.
Getting rid of salt farms led us to go back to nature, and then we began gradually salt farming again. Now we need to find an ecological balance, as we should all have a better understanding of the environment."
高跟鞋对我来讲，它就是只是一个艺术品而已。那到这边来的话，可以感受到就是他们当地的文化，然后一些他们生产的东西。
The Zhounan Salt Farm continues to represent the early days of Budai Township's salt farming industry. It's an important part of local history, which could be combined with regional tourism promotion, providing one potential solution to the crass, short-lived tourism promotion strategies currently favored by many municipal governments.
Applied chemistry professor of Providence University in Taichung, Taiwan, Wang Shuping, is a well-known scholar in her field with more than 3 decades of experience. 20 years ago, Wang fell ill. Both her and her husband decided to become vegetarian to pray for her recovery. Wang says by becoming vegetarians, they feel healthier, stronger, and more energetic every day.
定一个区间来呈现出它的一个结果的可靠性。
Professional and charismatic, friendly and humorous, these are just some of the reasons that make Providence University's applied chemistry professor Wang Shuping so popular amongst her students.
他没有那个镭射笔。
我有棍子都没带。
你有棍子哦。
She's like a mother figure to us. She cares about her students and their well-being.
这是新的吗？
Wang Shuping always makes time after class to catch up with her students. As an alumni of the school, she decided to stay and teach chemistry at the university as soon as she obtained her master's degree. Green Chemistry Separation Technique Laboratory is the name of my lab. The last thing we want is to release harmful substances into the environment as a result of our experiment. At school, Wang promotes green chemistry in an effort to protect the planet. Besides teaching applied chemistry at Providence University, Wang also serves as the chairman of the Taichung branch of the Chinese Chemistry Society. Following a serious illness 20 years ago, Wang became a vegetarian.
我妈
Both my mother and husband made a vow to adopt vegetarianism. During my 6-month recovery, I naturally became a vegetarian as well, and I continued to be vegetarian once I fully recovered.
以后也都吃素。
Wang says ever since she became a vegetarian, she feels stronger than before. To accumulate blessings for his wife, Wang's husband also adopted a vegetarian diet 20 years ago and continued going meatless even during his chemotherapy treatment.
他也是吃素。
He is also a vegetarian and he recovered better and quicker than other patients.
要好，而且还要迅速。
Now both almost in their 60s, Wang and her husband look youthful and energetic, inspiring those around them to go meatless as well.
Continuing our series on bone marrow donation, we take a look at 40-year-old Deng Han-won, whose sister passed away 20 years ago. After Tzu Chi volunteers consulted with her, she decided to become a marrow donor. 8 years later, a match was made with recipient Zhuang Bairu, receiving treatment and a new chance at life. This grateful recipient is now giving back by volunteering in her community.
When I was about 20 years old, my sister passed away in a car accident, and because of her, I want to help others.
At that time, some Tzu Chi volunteers came to her home to comfort her and gave her this message about marrow donation in a magazine. This led Deng to register herself as a donor, which would eventually be fulfilled 8 years later.
From the beginning, I knew there would be a successful match. I even told my mother about this and asked how come the recipient hasn't contacted me. I believe that karma must work in very subtle ways.
After 2 weeks of speaking these words, she received a successful pairing notification, who turned out to be quite similar to her, a young woman raising a young daughter who was suffering from acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
I thought the doctor gave me the wrong diagnosis because I could still move around, and if I died, who would take care of my child?
Zhuang used to work long hours, but soon her only hope would be Tzu Chi's bone marrow database.
The doctor couldn't give me an exact diagnosis about my chances of surviving.
Fortunately, coming to her aid was Deng Han-won.
Because my blood vessels are very thin, it is not easy to find my blood vessels, so the needle had to be inserted a dozen times.
Unfortunately, the donated marrow would be rejected.
Receiving the marrow was more painful than chemotherapy. I was so miserable that if I just opened my mouth, blood would drip out.
The marrow rejection weakened her spirit, but the donor at the other end still prayed for her.
To be able to find a successful match is a blessing, as I continue to pray for your family.
Zhuang Bairu was willing to do it again, give it another chance.
The first day I was so exhausted that I couldn't even put the book back on the shelf.
While recuperating at home, she started to volunteer at the library telling stories to children.
Storytelling is good and stories can inspire children.
8 years, the two are able to meet one another and express their thanks.
Thank you, I'm very grateful to her.
Zhuang Bairu was surprised when she met this elegant donor.
You look quite different from what I've imagined, and you can still give me such useful blood stem cells. You are such a beautiful lady.
In order to donate marrow, I actually gained 5 kilograms.
Since her sister's death, she was inspired to undertake this remarkable donation of bone marrow to save another person's life.
The Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital recently hosted a free clinic for disabled children from the Faith, Hope and Love Center for Children and Adults with Disabilities. To reduce the children's worries, each one had a Tzu Chi accompany them to ease their anxiety when receiving checkups. Apart from giving them health checks, psychiatrists and occupational therapists also helped assess which assistive devices were suitable for them.
These disabled children from the Faith, Hope and Love Center are having health checks with the company of their teachers, parents and Tzu Chis.
They have a unique way to take care of these children because they are accompanied by their teachers. Because of this, the children won't feel nervous when they go to the doctor.
Medical staff members from the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital try everything possible to calm the anxiety of these disabled children.
It hasn't been easy, but the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital has continued to host free clinics for our center over the past 10 years. We feel grateful for their dedication.
We can surely accept that everyone is different, though they are disabled and have mobility issues. They show great courage in their lives. We can learn from their willpower.
Apart from examining the children's mental health, psychiatrists and occupational therapists help assess which assistive devices are best suited to them.
It will be a heavy burden for the children who suffer from cerebral palsy to lift this.
With the arrival of the World Occupational Therapy Day, the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital displays a variety of new assistive devices in the hallway. After receiving these appropriate assistive devices, these disabled people will not only feel more comfortable in their lives, but also enjoy greater mobility.
In the bustling business districts of Jakarta, Indonesia, many poor families struggle just to get by. In the Kelapa Gading Kirana Commercial Avenue area, many migrant families rely on small jobs to make a living and have no time or money to access medical services that may be necessary. Recently, Tima Indonesia held a free dental clinic to help some of those families out. Let's take a look.
Surrounding this business district of Jakarta, there are thousands of poor and impoverished families who have left their homes for the city, hoping to make a living for themselves.
They use their motorcycles or run a small stand, or they do construction work. Women work jobs doing laundry near their homes.
Being so busy working to care for their family, many often neglect their health. Like 40-year-old Ko Tua, who takes care of her 2 children and spends her days doing laundry for others. She has no time to think about her dental problems.
I hope that one day God will give me a strong body and that all of my health problems will improve quickly. I wanted all the villagers to know that Tzu Chi had dentists that could offer them dental treatment and would do it happily.
Tzu Chi's Indonesia branch successfully held a dental clinic that provided services for 88 people. The smiles of the local residents are all the payment that the Tima staff needs.
We'll leave you with these images at the end of our program. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us.